Hi, welcome to the Facebook Live Fraud Education Series. We've got a great presentation for you today about unemployment scams. My name is Nancy Sylvester, and I'm from Northern Credit Union.
My name is Katie Edmonds. I'm from Northern Credit Union as well. We're part of the Compliance and Fraud Prevention. Really excited to be here today practicing social distancing. Nancy and I are attending virtually from our homes in order to give you this presentation.
Yes, and we're very excited to have this technology to do that. So why are we talking about employment scams today, Katie?
We really wanted to take the opportunity to highlight on some employment scams that we're seeing, both at our credit union and in the news. Just things that are popping up with COVID. We're running into lots of things like delayed unemployment claims and things like that. So people are, searching for ways to get some extra income. We want to highlight on some common scams, what happens in these scams and how you can kind of identify that it's a scam. What's at risk if you do fall victim to a scam, and steps that you can take to protect yourself if you do fall victim to a scam.
Yes, and then we'll have some examples, and we're also going to open it up for viewer questions at the end as well. So let's jump in here. Let's see. We are talking about common scams. So what are some of the common scams that we've seen and heard about?
So some of the common scams that are going around right now are car wrapping or advertising scams, where you get sent money to put a logo on your car and advertise for a major company. Mystery shopper scams, where they will send you money and send you out into the public to purchase items and provide a review on it. Online company reviewer as well. Online surveys, where again, you're going to go in and you're going to complete surveys and you'll be paid for that.
Back to this example we had, we're talking about a car wrap. So let's say that I receive a letter and it says that this company that I'm familiar with, Monster Energy, they're offering me money. So they're going to send me a check, and then they're going to send a text when I receive it so they can supposedly authorize the payment. And then I'm supposed to deposit it and text them a copy of the receipt. And then it sounds great because it's going to run for 3 months and I can stop at any time. So it sounds like it's in my control. They're sending me a check for over $9,000. It's going to be for $1,600 as my first 2 weeks payment, and then the other $8,000 I'm supposed to send to a graphic artist, and that way they get paid and they can do what they need to do. So what's wrong with this scenario?
Well, I'd like to take a little bit of a closer look at the letter that you're talking about. And if you look at the letter, the first thing they're doing is they're telling you to text this number acknowledging that you've received your payment and your instruction notes. They're saying that they're going to immediately authorize the check once you've messaged, and then you are going to, once it's deposited, you're going to forward money to their graphic artist. You're encouraged to text quickly or you're going to be disqualified and your payment will be declined. There's a couple red flags in here that kind of give us cause for pause. We want to look at the fact that they're going to disqualify you and decline your payment if you don't immediately respond. It's a scare tactic we see.
Yes, those are scary sounding words.
It is scary, and it's a scare tactic that we see quite frequently with scams, where they're just trying to hurry up and have you push that payment through. They don't want you thinking about it or asking questions or letting your financial institution question where this is coming from or what you're doing, because they just want it to hurry up and be overlooked so that you can hurry up and send them their money. It's all about the rush of getting it done. They want to make sure that they get their money before the financial institution is notified that the check is not good.
Right. Okay, well, so that job didn't sound as good as it originally did.
No, and I would want to draw interest to the payment that you've received with this as well. Yeah. Looking at the check that you received with this letter, it's not issued from Monster Energy or anybody related to the company that you were just told you were working for. Yeah. And they've sent you $9,000 and they're trusting you to send a large amount of that to their graphic designer. All right, sorry about that. So again, a legitimate employer is not going to ask for your debit card information or any information for you to start paying materials. Again, at least until you've had a conversation and filled out some legal documents so that you can get legitimately paid, you wouldn't be asked to just front money for a job.
Right. Absolutely. Okay, so let's look at another example. Let's say that I've won the lottery. I've won Publishers Clearinghouse. That's another name that I've heard of before. It's a sweepstakes. It says I won $2.5 million. And what I have to do is before they did send me a check for over $5,000, and that's to cover insurance and attorney's fees and things like that. It's actually a money order that I just need to contact this claims manager that's on this tiny little letter, which we'll expand in a moment. But I just need to contact this individual, and then I'm going to deposit it, and then they'll give me further instructions later.
So again, I'd like to take a little bit of a closer look at the letter that you received.
Yeah.
They're asking you to, without delay, immediately contact your claims manager. They're asking you to keep this strictly confidential. They don't want you to talk to anybody about it, which may seem like a legitimate move. If you're coming into a lot of money, you wouldn't want to advertise that to everybody.
Sure.
But in cases like these, it's an indicator that they don't want any questions asked about their correspondence or about the check you're receiving. They want you to keep it as quiet as possible and quickly do the transaction. They're hoping that it will fly under the radar. There's a couple of things with this payment that you've received as well. We're looking at the payment has come from Western Union and it's been sent to you. Again, you're going to have to send some money out to claim your funds. On the letter that you received, it's indicating that Publishers Clearinghouse works with Chase Bank and you're going to get payment from them. However, what you've received in the mail is a Western Union negotiable instrument. And, you know, again, that's going to be a cause for pause. Why are they asking you to be so quiet about it and hurry up and do it and, you know, speak with your claims manager on it in order to quickly make the transaction happen?
And that's really interesting too. I mean, the claims manager, that sounds like a very official term. And also they're talking about, you know, basically, in some cases, even lying to your financial institution. Those should be some red flags right there.
Yeah, they should be.
Yeah. So, okay, we've got one more example for you. Let's talk about a potential business opportunity. Let's say that I own a landscaping business, and I get a phone call out of the blue, and they're offering to send me a lot of money for a big job to landscape on foreclosed property. After all these other discussions that we've had, I'm starting to see a pattern here. They did request after that initial phone call that they want text only. So I'm starting to think that maybe this is not a good job.
Mm-hmm. So again, you're going to want to question where these funds are coming from. You're going to want to talk to the person who's looking at hiring your company for the job. You're going to want to make sure that what they're asking makes sense. If they're fronting you money, again, you're going to want to stop and think about it for a minute. Not too many businesses are just going to put a check out there and expect that you're going to be willing to accept the job. You know, you want to make sure that any transactions that are happening seem to follow the order of being hired for a legitimate job.
Right. Yeah, and I think this example is interesting too, because they're talking about a foreclosed property where there's probably not a lot of people around to be on that property. So if it doesn't belong to anyone that they're associated with, no one's going to know.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, so well, we've talked about some examples. So let's talk about how can we avoid these situations.
Our suggestion would be to avoid social media and classified ads when looking for a job. Visit reputable job websites that vet out the people and the companies who are posting the jobs on their sites. Avoid anything where they're asking for all digital contact. If they're asking you to email or text, even if it starts with a phone call, if they're switching and pushing you to only do digital contact, that would be a red flag and something that you would want to consider before sharing your information out.
Sure.
Think about the information that they're asking for. Again, sharing your mobile login so that somebody can deposit a check for you is never a good idea. Once they have that information, they can have access to your statements, your account numbers and things like that. And then they can use that information elsewhere maliciously. And if they're asking for personal information in an unsecured channel. So again, a legitimate HR department is going to give you tax forms to fill out if they're asking for your social security number and things like that. Whereas a fraudulent job is just going to ask for the information via text or email, or, you know, maybe they'll ask you to write it down, but it's not, again, going to be on those legal documents for employment. If something happens and, you know, you do share out some information. If you have any questions on anything like that, you're encouraged to call us, you know, bring in the instruments before trying to negotiate them and get a little more information on there. I think we're going to open up for viewer questions as well. We can kind of touch on some other things while maybe some of the questions come in.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, we just wanted to make sure that if you have any questions, feel free to enter them. One question that we wanted to discuss was what to do if you fall victim to a scam.
So if you do fall victim to a scam, or you think somebody is trying to scam you, contact your financial institution as soon as possible. If you're a Northern member, or even if you're not a Northern member, we'd be more than happy to talk to you. You can call or text us on our main line, 315-782-0155. You can visit our website at mynorthern.com. You can visit any of our relationship centers. And if you have fallen victim to a scam and you believe your personal information may be compromised, Northern partners with Easy Shield, and it will monitor your information, seeing if it's being traded or sold on the dark web. I personally have Easy Shield, and I really like the program. It's very user friendly.
Yes, it is. Yeah. It's really great. It's a really great extra protection to know that that's there, and that can help you avoid the scams as well as find out when something has happened, even apart from the scams that we're talking about today. So a great tool. All right, so let's see. I'm looking to see if we have any questions out here. So if someone gets a check in the mail, what should they do with it?
I would suggest if you're sure that it's not legitimate, like if you weren't expecting this money, if anything looks wrong with the checks, inconsistent text, bold fonts, italic fonts that don't seem to quite fit, and you're pretty sure it's fraudulent, you could destroy it. If you have any questions on it, you're more than welcome to bring it into Northern, and we'll be able to go over it, look at it with you, and help determine if it's legitimate or not. Again, look for those key indicators. Is the payment that you're receiving in line with the documentation you're receiving with it? Is if the letter is telling you to do one thing, or you're working for somebody, or the money's being sent from one company and everything on the check points to a different one, you know, that's definitely, again, a cause to pause and think about the legitimacy of the documents. Right.
Okay, and another question to consider is, are there ever any investigations into these fraudsters? I mean, it seems like there's so many out there. Is anything being done?
I think that would, yeah, I mean, I really think that would depend on what type of scam it is. If it's a check that's being mailed, especially from someplace out of state, quick Google searches can kind of tell you the area it's coming from. Some of them end up being vacant buildings, old business addresses that are no longer in place, or even some are just residential housing complexes. So it might be very hard to figure out who's behind the investigation, because when mailing documents or sending shipments, you don't have to be at the location you're saying you're sending it from in order to get it to ship.
Right. So, but I mean, that's not to say that they're not caught over time. So, but unfortunately, they can be clever sometimes. So, that is something that we want to look out for. You got to be smarter than the fraudsters, and that's what we're here for, to help you do that. So, I think that's all we have for questions.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, we appreciate everyone's time, and we thank you for joining us today. All right. Well, thanks so much, and have a wonderful evening.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you.